So here's our syllabus. Please read the syllabus. Study it over, mark it up, but make sure that you read it over because this is what is expected of you and what is expected of me in this course. And there are a few things that I just want to highlight, so this won't take too long. And so I'm not going to cover everything. And so I need you to make sure that you read it over and you know what's where. And so first thing, my office hours, since this is an online class, my office hours are over Zoom Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm going to add Thursdays to this also. I thought it was on there. Between 2 and 3 o'clock. And so during that time, I will have my Zoom room open. I will be working on my computer. I will get a little doorbell jingle when somebody enters the room, and we'll open it up and we can talk about anything regarding the class. I can give you feedback. We can talk about assignments. We can talk about sources, finding outside sources to support your arguments or your points in your papers. Anything regarding the class. Do not consider that a time when you're bothering me or you're interrupting anything. That is a time devoted to you as students. If this time doesn't work, I know that's a really limited amount of time, just let me know and we can arrange another time. That's no big deal at all. Okay? As you go through here, look at the course overview, everything that we're going to be looking at and accomplishing and practicing, and the skills that I'm going to be looking for throughout the class. The textbook is required, so you can get it right here through ASU. If you want to opt out and find like a used book somewhere, you can do that, but make sure that you follow these instructions so you don't get the automatic charge. And if you do get another textbook, not through the ASU bookstore, make sure that it is the 14th edition because there have been some changes there. You need a laptop, you need a reliable computer, desktop, laptop. Do not think that you can accomplish this course on your phone. That just will not happen. So make sure that you have a reliable laptop. And here is one point that I want to make sure that you are all aware of. Attendance is required even in an online class, and how we count attendance for online classes is that we count submissions. So if you come down here, the policy is if a student misses more than 4 consecutive submissions or assignments, those are each considered absences, and the students can be withdrawn from the class or will result in failure. It'd be really hard to pass the class if you miss 4 assignments in a row, okay? If something comes up, the most important thing you can do in an online class is keep the communication lines open between you and your instructor, your professor. Let me know if things come up. Make sure that you attend that first, not only the first week, the first couple days of a class. Since this is an accelerated class, this is a 16-week course crammed into, what do we have, like 7.5, 8 weeks. Because of that, I need to see that you are attending or you participating within the first couple days of the course. Because the ASU writing program's policy is that if there's nobody participating in the first few days, they are automatically going to be withdrawn from the course. All right? That just saves people from fees, from a failing grade on the transcript and all those kind of things. And so make sure that you participate right out of the gate. If there's a problem, you reach out to me so that I know what's going on. Here are the assignments we're going to be doing this week. And a lot of these are, well, they're all really good practical professional genres, types of writing that you will encounter in your profession, no matter what that is. Job ad analysis, cover letters, reports, correspondence, and the use of AI. And I'll mention that here and I'll mention it maybe later on. But there are going to be a couple situations where AI is not only allowed but encouraged in generating ideas, in generating kind of organizational, what am I thinking? Organizing your content and producing reports based on your information, okay? However, AI will never be accepted when it is used to generate the writing. Okay? Use it as a research assistant. Use it as something to bounce off ideas. Use it as a tool, but do not hand over your voice, your power, your ethos, your reputation to AI. Okay? It will never. That's one thing I'm going to mention a lot in this course is professional writing is successful when it is also personable. When you create your voice, when the reader, the audience can see you in your writing, that's when you're going to stand out. That's when you're going to be memorable. That's when you're going to be successful. I have had classes in the past where I have received cover letters where every single thing was AI generated and they were identical. Nobody stood out. And it was painful. And so AI will be used for different things in this class, but it will never be used to generate writing. Okay? But our project 4 will be a project where we are practicing prompts and how to best use AI. Go down here. We've got the grade breakdown. Last thing I want to mention is late writing projects. As far as the major projects, because they are required, I will accept them late, but there is a severe late deduction for every day they are late. So do your best to get them in on time, okay? The weekly yellow dig discussions will close after the week. So there's no way that you can go back and redo one. There is a little bit of leeway where you can earn a little bit more than what was required in certain weeks to kind of make up a little portion of a missed week, but missing a week of yellow dig would really, really impact your grade. Now, one thing I really wanted to emphasize here is I have a revise and resubmit policy where students, with this kind of class where they're accelerated and we are moving through it so quickly, it is impossible for me to give everyone feedback on their rough draft. There is just not enough time because the turnover is so quickly. However, I will give you a whole lot of feedback on your final draft. A lot of feedback, a lot of annotated feedback, a lot of, paragraphical feedback. And so if you get that feedback and you look at a grade and you've received an 89% or lower and you tell yourself, it's like, oh my gosh, I forgot to include this, or I know where I kind of gone off track right here, and you read my feedback and you want to revise and resubmit, you need to let me know within 48 hours of receiving that grade, and then I will give you 1 week to revise based on my feedback and resubmit a new paper. And now the official policy is that I will give you the average of the 2 allotted grades, but I always just regrade it. If you want to go through the time of revision, which I wish everybody had the time to revise after feedback and resubmit, but logistically we can't. But if you want to go through that work and resubmit, I will simply regrade the new paper as if it was the first draft. All right? Keep that in mind, but it's a quick turnaround. You have to let me know right away because time passes really quickly in this class. So read over the rest of the content of the syllabus. Reach out to me if you have any questions.